19 fights, 19 wins, no losses, 12 by means of knockout. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the IBF bantamweight champion of the world, Mbulelo Dynamite Botile. These boxers, ladies and gentlemen, are fighting over 12 rounds in the bantamweight division. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. This is Jumbo Cash and Curry all the way. Boxers.
So there you are then, that's tonight's main event. And Lucky McElhinney, the MC, having a good time there.
Protect yourselves at all times. Shake hands, go back to the corner and wait for the bell.
Right, Bong Marlon Arlos from the Philippines, the Filipino champion at super flyweight, trying to take the IBF super flyweight or junior bantamweight title away from the holder, Mbulelo Botile. This is the fourth defense of the title by Botile. There you are, Bobby Ferraro from the USA is refereeing. Now, I've actually seen Botile in action before when he beat Ansi Gideon in 11 rounds, in his last defense, in fact, of this championship. That was in April of this year, by the way. And he looked a pretty useful young fighter. He beat the Colombian Harold Mestre on a second round knockout to win the championship, by the way, last year. Well, this little southpaw from Cotabato in the Philippines has got a job on his hands now. 21 wins, 5 losses, 9 knockouts to his credit. Botile, of course, 19 wins on the spin, 12 by the short route. So things don't augur too well for the Filipino. They're tough, and they've got indomitable spirits, but as you can see, Arlos lacking the class. Botile turned professional 2 years earlier than Arlos in 1989. Became South African champion in his 12th fight. Beat the former contender, Derek Whiteboy, on points over 12. Only one real name on the record of Arlos that you might conjure with, that of Samuel Duran. He beat Arlos in 1994, stopping him in 8. Well, I reckon that Botile is going to have a very easy night here. Oops, a daisy, a right and a left there from Arlos. Just trying to put Botile out of his stride. But this really is a fight that Botile looks like he can win anytime he likes. Botile, by the way, ranked number 3 in the world by the independent world boxing rankings. And Botile, like his stablemate Nchita, he also had 80 wins and 5 losses as an amateur. And there's no doubt at all that Botile has won the first round. Don't forget, it's the single point scoring system. In world boxing, the winner of the round gets 10 points, the loser a proportionate amount less, normally 9. In the event of a knockdown, it can be scored 2 points against the loser of the round.
You gotta go and get up close on this guy, right? You gotta get up close on him, right? And don't let this guy go, don't jump back on this guy. I want some right hands from him, all right? Give me a deep breath. Give me a deep breath. I told you to check your hands on this guy, right? When this guy swings, he don't even know what he's doing. So I want you to keep your hands up on him. I want you to move right hands, all right? And step to him. When you step to him, step with your hands up, all right? All right?
Well, that's a nice left hand after the right by Arlos. Botile, by the way, coming up for his 24th birthday.
Sit back.
And Arlos, well, he's already 25 now.
Seconds out, let's go. Seconds out. Stay in the corner. Stay in the corner.
So into round 2 then of the scheduled 12-rounder for the IBF bantamweight crown. The former Filipino super flyweight champion or junior bantamweight champion, Bong Marlon Arlos, the oddly named Arlos. In the red and white, of course, against the champion, Mbulelo Botile of South Africa. He also comes from East London, like his compatriots Welcome and Cheetah. Well, obviously Arlos here is relying on a brawling style, hoping to catch Botile with something telling. The odds against that, of course, are pretty huge, I'd say. Botile not really enjoying this unorthodox approach by the Filipino. He would much prefer him to stand there nice and upright, do the right thing. Because when fighters do that, you at least know what to expect. But this little man, Arlos, is a southpaw and an awkward one. Really, you'd expect Botile to keep him on the end of that long left hand.
Okay.
He's actually not a bad counter-puncher, but he's going looking for a fight here.
Hold it, come on. Hey, watch the head. You, watch the head.
Of course, that always goes down well with the South African crowd having a pop at the foreign boxer. Goes down well anywhere, come to that. Well, so far, Arlos looking tricky enough to stay out of trouble and launching the odd attack.
Get out. Come on, get out. Come on, get out.
Once again, that big scything left hand. And this Bobby Ferrero's really getting on my wick. I wish he'd shut up. Some referees, of course, are like that.
Stop!
Well, not a bad round there for Botile. But to be honest with you, he's not really distinguished himself here against Arlos, a man who's there to have his head absolutely jabbed off. And full marks to Arlos for trying to make something of a battle of it on his cut now in the right eye. Oh, I didn't see that occur.
Europe has chosen
that Arlos made contact with his head at some point.
Get off this stool, and I'm talking about don't be afraid of what the left hand not go ahead and get on.
As Terry Stott's giving the main advice to Botile, who, as you know, has got a cut on the right eye. Not a nice one either, just on or above the eyebrow. So, he's on borrowed time. Going for broke here in round 3. Botile so far looking unimpressive. Well, a reasonable left hook there from the South African. Well, Botile looking just a bit livelier here in round 3. forcing Arlos back.
Hold it, hold it, hold it, hold it, hold it. Come on, come on. Hold it, hold it, hold it, hold it. Come on, come on, I got it. Come on.
Well, Arlos very crude in his defense and his attack. But he's making Botile think. He's also making him miss.
I got it. Come on.
Well, so far, Arlos' spirit has not deserted him. He's still in there chucking shots. Well, Arlos now looking just a wee bit ragged. Mind you, he didn't look too tidy right at the beginning. That's a tribute, of course, to this awkward southpaw style. Well, good round for Botile. The clearest so far. Three gone.
You must come down. If they come down, that's why you're catching it.
Bit of replay here from the third session. This was Arlos ducking and diving out of the way, taking a right there though. Of course, there's no way of knowing exactly how hard bong Arlos can hit.
Hands up behind his face, push this guy backwards and load up. Push this guy backwards and load up. He's got to keep his hands on his face and push him back.
There you are then, there's the youngster from the Philippines. That's a nasty cut. And I'm sure it was a clash of heads.
Wait, come on, get out of that corner.
Round 4. Well, still, little Arlos slinging those big haymakers, really. As I say, I don't know quite how much power's behind those punches. He obviously fancies himself as a bit of a puncher. But against a world-class man like Mbulelo, Botile, different story. Of course, it would be unthinkable for Arlos to come to South Africa and tear away Botile's IBF bantamweight crown. And Bong Arlos incredibly raw. And you really do wonder where he learned to box. Well, good spell there from Botile, but suddenly Arlos tries to fly back. Very determined little fella. I've got a feeling that Arlos should have stayed as a junior bantamweight, super flyweight. Whatever power he may think he possesses is not making much of a difference here. Good round again for the champion.
He's just coming in low and his head's down. I'm watching him. He ain't trying to butt him. So be careful what he's gonna do.
Once again, a touch of replay. Yes, this was a good spell, but suddenly Arlos exploded himself and tried to drive Botile back. And he's ducking very, very low there.
Seconds out, let's
Here
go.
goes Arlos, two-fisted.
Seconds out, let's go. Come on, hold on. Hold on.
Round 5.
Get that towel down out of there.
Well, the last thing really Bong Arlos needs to do is drop that right hand. He's got a nasty cut on the right eyebrow, which in fact they've stemmed the flow of blood from very, very well. But he's begging for trouble, dropping that right. He's got no right hand to speak of either, has he? He just flaps with it. So he should be using it defensively if he can't use it as an attacking weapon. You can also probably notice that Arlos's right eye now is getting quite puffy. Very casual work now by the champ. Looks like he's upping the pace just a wee bit as this one moves on. Good work there from Botile. The cleanest punches so far of the fight. And once again, Arlos there ducking very, very low. He's low to start with, just a short man.
Hold it, hold it, hold it, hold it, hold it. Come on, come on, come on. All right, let him go. Let him go. Come on.
Well, this fight's
Let go. Come on,
all
get
but
out,
one,
get out.
really. Mbulelo Botile. Really just controlling things at long range with that left hand. And trying to just contain Bong Arlos, I'd say. Certainly nothing heroic coming from Botile. And nothing too special, I'm afraid, coming from Arlos. But Botile once again picks up the round.
Sammy Stewart, you got to go ahead and continue to punch. You got to go and put punishment on this guy. You can't let this guy go in off the hook. You're standing on top of it when he's...
Seconds out, hold it.
So round 6 then.
Okay.
Just to remind you, Mbulelo Botile of South Africa defending his IBF bantamweight crown for the 4th time. This time against Bong Arlos of the Philippines. And so far, I'm afraid, I've not given the challenger a round. Your hearts can go out to him, of course, because he's at least trying and trying hard, but lacking the quality.
Hold it, hold it, hold it, hold it, hold it. Come on, I got it. Come on, come on, come on.
And the worst thing they did was putting a microphone on Bobby Ferraro's shirt.
I want you to move. Hey, I want him to move. No, I won't care. Hey, I wouldn't care about that.
Well, Arlos there, letting go with a couple of rights to the body. Well, surely now Arlos is running on an empty tank. He's completely bereft of any kind of idea of how to win this one, other than trying to land what he will consider a massive haymaker. He can't outbox Botile, and even if he could, the chances of him getting a decision in South Africa rather remote. He probably doesn't hit hard enough to knock him out. And the other thing is, of course, Arlos is the one who's cut. So there's not many other ways that Arlos could win this one, barring acts of God, of course. Well, full marks to him. He hasn't got what it takes, but he's dredging something up from somewhere.
Hold it, hold it, hold it, hold it, hold it.
Well, right hook there from Arlos. And of course, Botile just shrugged it off, carries on punching. Needs an uppercut, though, needs an uppercut. No good punching down at the head. Got to bring them up. Once again, slight sympathy vote there for Arlos's effort, but I'm afraid he's not won the round. And we all love a good loser, don't we? Especially, of course, in Britain. We're so used to them. Not only in boxing.
Let's not wait at the end of the round. Just play.
Nabalisod siya, back up siya ba? Ikaw mo una.
Seconds out, let's go. Come on, let's go to that corner. Come on, come on. Let's go, guys. Get him out of that corner.
Halfway stage in round 7. And I just wonder how much Mbulelo Botile has chipped away at Bong Arlos in this one. Bong not looking at all bad
Hold it, I got it. Hold it.
for smidgens,
Let go.
but I'm afraid over the long course he hasn't got the class.
Watch that head. Arlos, watch that head. hold it. I got it. I got it. I got it. Come on, let go. Come on, let go. Both of you.
What does he mean by I got it, I got it? I just don't get it.
All right, hold it, hold it. Don't wrestle. Hold it. Stop punching. Come on, come on. Hold it, hold it, hold it. Hold it. Come on. Come on, hold it. I got it. Come on.
We all can get our heads together and pray that Bobby Ferraro goes home to a nagging wife.
Hold it. Hold it. Hold it. Hold it. Come on.
Yes, I know I've come out the old nagging wife line before, so let's hope she's ugly as well. Good work here now by Botile. But still he's not throwing an uppercut, or very, very rarely. And of course Bong Arlos is begging to be uppercutted. Always a good punch against a shorter opponent, especially when he's bending over. All you do is hurt your hands, hitting on top of the head. Oh, still Botile desperately trying to get rid of this little fella. And he's serious about it, believe me. But Arlos is serious about staying the full course. Well, that's a swing and a miss. And the old shoelaces come undone. Snazzy boots.
Hold it, hold it, hold it. Hold it, come on.
Well, that's bad news there by Uncheetah. Will Ferraro have the guts to go and speak to him?
Hey, Doc, come here.
No, he hasn't. Didn't think he would.
Give me the bucket, baby.
His eye's getting worse. Go with him.
Yes, the cut right eye of Bong Arlos was shedding a bit of blood, I thought, in that seventh.
You stay downstairs on this guy. You put the pressure on him, right? Give me deep breath. 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 Sometimes put it on the more.
Yes, that's a nasty cut. And that's hanging open now. Don't like to see them like that.
1 minute. Everything's gonna happen. It's time.
Well, they're having a discussion in Arlos's corner. They're allowing him to come out for this round, but he's on borrowed time. And I think Mbulelo Botile there thought it was all over. One more round.
Hold on.
Well, what does that mean for poor old Arlos?
Okay.
It doesn't mean a lot, does it? So he's going to have another round of getting his head punched in by the champion for no good reason, because the referee's going to stop the fight anyway, by the sound of things.
Hold it. Okay. All right, I got it. Come on.
And I thought all the bad referees were in the British amateur ranks. How wrong I was. One slipped through the American net. Bobby Ferraro.
Hold it, break, come on. Time. Oh, wait.
Once again, I think we've got a shoelace problem here
Tie them.
with Bong Arlos. And these laces are programmed to come undone every few rounds just to give their man a bit of a breather. Well, a semblance of an uppercut there by Botile.
Hold it, hold it, hold it, hold it, come on, come on.
Well, Arlos tried a right, but he's completely disorganized now. Of course, it's not his fault. He was selected to fight for this IBF crown by, I dare say, Botile's people. These days, of course, it's never the #1 contender who gets first shot or even a shot. If you want to fight anybody, you can. And there's a very good chance, of course, that Bong Arlos will be earning absolute peanuts for this.
Hold it, hold it, hold it, hold it, hold it. Come on, come on, come on, hold it, hold it, hold it. Okay.
Well, I reckon all of that, this is your last round, son, stuff has
No punch, no punch.
really just about fizzled out Bong Arlos's hopes. He had none, of course, but he wasn't to know that. Well, just chucked a right, didn't make much of a difference. As I say, he should have stayed down at super flyweight. It's only 3 pounds in it, but it's quite a lump for these little fellas. So that's the end then of round 8. And I reckon it's also the end of the challenge of Bong Arlos.
Okay, keep your hand over your eye. Oh, tell him to protect his eye. Push the guy back.
Yeah, great corner advice there.
No, that's worse than it was before. It's worse than it was last time. We don't want to risk him. Seriously.
Best round.
Yeah, I know, but he's hurt. His eye is really bad. His eye is bad. Look, that thing's a gaping wound, and you can't let that go anymore.
Well, that's about the only sensible thing so far that this referee has said. And I reckon it's all over.
He's got a serious injury to his eye.
It's not bleeding inside his eyes.
It's all over then. It's all over, so a little confab there between Ferraro and the doctor deciding that Bong Arlos should not come out for round 9. The eye really was a secondary issue. The guy just didn't have a chance. He didn't have the class and should never really have been allowed to face Mbulelo Botile for this IBF crown. They should be ashamed of themselves, but at least he can say he fought for the world title and got stopped on the cut, which is, I suppose, better than being chinned. He can tell his folks that he was saving his effort to the last round. Someone undoubtedly will believe him in about 50 years' time. He can tell them what it was all about. A little bit worried there by Botile's approach in the early stages. He didn't really seem to be too switched on. Obviously realised he didn't have much to beat. But it's a terrible, terrible mistake to get complacent. Well, that's about it for me. I've got one more show for you before I jet off to Atlanta for the Olympic Games, and that, by the way, is on the night before, on Tuesday the 17th, and we're going to bring you a glimpse of past glories. Eusebio Pedrosa, can you believe it? Against Juan Laporte. What a battle that was. And one of my favourite lighter weight fighters of all time, the former lightweight champion Ray Mancini, also in action on Tuesday. Hope you can join us for that.
before the 9th round because of the big gash on the challenger's eye. And the winner by technical knockout and still the IBF Bantamweight Champion of the world, Mbulelo Dynamite Botile.
So Botile then declared the winner by this MC, Lucky Macalini. And that's me, finished. Hope you've enjoyed it. And as I say, try and make Tuesday for Pedrosa against Laporte and Ray Mancini.